Hey guys, so today I'm going to be putting a new top end on this 2006 Yamaha PW80. Customer brought it in. We were hoping for just a carburetor clean the carburetor, uh, but still wouldn't fire up. So called them, talked to them. They said go ahead, it's a kid's Christmas present, and Christmas is in 2 days. So he's trying to get it ready for them. Um, we checked compression, only had about 61, 62 pounds of compression. Guy said if we can get it built by Christmas, go for it. So we overnighted a top end kit, piston rings, jug, head, everything for it. It just showed up a few minutes ago. We've already got this one, the old one, pulled off. So I didn't video that, but I'll video going back on. It'll be all the same stuff, just in reverse. So I'll show you how to get new top end on these smaller two strokes. Super simple, not bad at all. Hopefully this thing will fire up and will make some kid happy for Christmas. Thanks guys, stick around. So the first thing we're going to do, we just want to open everything up and make sure it is the right stuff. Got a new cylinder head, cylinder, piston, rings, clips, pin, needle bearing, everything. And this is all the old stuff. And when we pulled it down, you can see here, right there, so there's supposed to be a dowel on each ring gap to hold the rings where they go. The dowel on this one is over here, but right there is a chunk of metal where the piston kind of chipped away, so it had the ring kind of hung out and just scored everything up. But the new one, you can see there's a dowel there and one there. It's in good shape. So we're gonna go ahead and put the rings on it. Sometimes they'll have rings that have to go in a certain order, especially on a 4-stroke machine. 2-stroke, not so much, but they do have little steps to them. They're kind of tapered, so they can hug that dowel and not jump over it or anything like that. But these aren't numbered. They're the same thickness, same everything, so it doesn't matter on these which order, top to bottom, they go. But you'll want, so the dowel is at the top of this gap here and this one, so you'll want to turn your taper on the rings the same way, so the biggest gap is up towards that dowel. I always like to just take some 2-stroke mixing oil, keep everything lubed up as you're going. You don't want to scratch it, you don't want to scar anything. You want to keep it pretty well slick. All this stuff is fresh from factory. It's really dry. Make sure there's no castings left on anything, no burrs. You just take the ring and just try to spread it and walk it around, and it'll pop in, and then it stays in that spot there where the dowel is. But this one, I'm going to keep going, walk it on down to the bottom gap so I can get the next one on top of it. So just take your time, be easy, don't spread it too fast or you might break the ring. Just try to walk it around. Make sure it squeezes good where that dowel is. No scratches, no burrs. And then we'll do the next one. sure somebody out there has a fancy tool to spread these just the right amount to do that. Okay, there we go. So got the old gasket cleaned off, got everything clean, dry. We'll start putting everything back together. The base gasket, slide it down over the studs. And then I'll start putting the piston on. Got my needle bearing. I'm going to put some oil on it. Slide it into the connecting rod. Make sure everything's tight, turns. And take my piston. And the piston has an arrow on the top of it. I don't know if you can see that. It's up here. That arrow is always going to point at the exhaust. So the exhaust on this one comes out of the bottom. So we're going to point that arrow down. Slide it over connecting rod. Let that sit there. Get your wrist pin, oil it up pretty good. Slide it in. It's got to go through the piston, through the needle bearing, and then start on the other side of the piston. And then inside of the piston skirt, there's little grooves for these two clips right here. You can see those. These hold the wrist pin in. They can be a booger to get on sometimes, but they go up in this little hole here on each side. Sometimes you'll need some needle nose. Sometimes you can do it by hand. Yeah, I'm gonna grab some needle nose. I don't wanna drop them. What I do is I grab the little ear that they got sticking in like that, and then you can kind of get a little more leverage on it to get it in there. Okay, there's that side. I'll come around and do that side. Maybe you can see it a little better. My hands may be in the way though. Grab the clip. Got the jug. I'm gonna take some mixing oil, just pour a little bit in there, rub it around. You just don't want to run the risk of anything being dry or stuck. Check your rings one more time, make sure they're on the dowels, they're not jumped. Start sliding it on. The exhaust port is going to go down. Get up over your rods. So some people have a ring compressor, like a clamp, to help you get these up in there. But on these little ones like this, they're not that bad. You can just use your fingers. And some people even put the piston inside of the jug first, just a little ways, to get it started out on the table, so you're not fighting it, kind of like I am now. And then do your wrist pin and stuff afterwards. You can do that. It's just preference, really, whichever way you like. There we go. Woo. Slide everything down. Okay, I'm going to hold some pressure in on that and turn it over by hand a little bit. Make sure nothing's binding up, everything's moving good. Just grab the Kickstarter and push down. Everything seems to be good. Everything turns over good. Now we're going to grab head gasket, slide it on. And cylinder head. I didn't see which way this came off. I bet like that with the plug up. Just gonna tighten everything down. Four nuts for the studs. Man, I had to turn the camera off. I didn't want everybody to see me struggling with these exhaust bolts. I had to take a pry bar and get under the header pipe there and flex it enough to be able to get these bolts started. On the other way was to pull the exhaust loose at the muffler, and it's rusted up and doesn't really want to come off, so I'll just flex it a little bit, and they lined up. I was struggling. Exhaust is tight. Put a spark plug in it now. So we've got an NGK BP6HS. Thread it in. Maybe, there we go. And that's spark plug wrench. Should be right back. The original plug had the threaded top instead of the cap on it. This one looks like it threads off, so I'm gonna try to get it off there. Yeah. Just take that cap off. And we save these because there's a lot of times we'll get a plug that has this and we need one of these to go on it. So we keep them. There we go. Clips right on. I'm gonna check the oil and everything, check the gas, and then let it down, try to fire it up. Yeah, I meant to tell you, the 4-cylinder head nuts here, torque on those is 7.2 foot-pounds. So you don't want to get too wild with it. They're just little guys. But everything's bolted up. The exhaust bolted up. Oil in it looks good. So we're gonna let it down and see if she'll fire up. I hope so. Gas on and choke it. I'll leave ignition off first few kicks. Let everything cycle good. Alright, here we go.